All right, welcome back to Crypto Talk, guys. Let's run down some things with you here on Bitcoin. I apologize. I've been swamped with work, so I'm doing, looks like one or two videos a week at this pace, but I'll start doing more as the market picks back up. So here on the weekly, you can see we're getting close to printing a trigger wave to the upside. A lot of positives here I see. You've got the RSIs that are stopped dropping for the most part. It's just now moving sideways. They're starting to close their gap, which means usually a strong move is coming. VWAP is just below the zero line. VWAP has been under the zero line for a very long time. It's been under the zero line since we left it in January 27th of 2025. So that was the second highest candle we've had since the all-time high, since 106, basically. If you check on down to the 6-day, you can see we still haven't printed a trigger wave. RSIs are still coming down. We are now back below the anchored VWAP, which I've been following a lot from the all-time high. A lot of alts are sitting on their VWAPs, which we'll get to in a second. I'm just going to go over pretty much only AVAX and KDAO today. Those are the only two things I'm really interested in looking at. There are a ton of really good AI projects. Like mines on Solana, so keep that in mind. There's a lot of stuff waiting in the wings for the market to turn more bullish again. Keep in mind, we don't have any bullish break in structure until we're back above the 95,000 mark. Really got to get back above this guy over here. All right, let's run down to the 3-day. 3-day still has money flow in the green. The zero line has been flip-flopping with the VWAP here. Gap to RSIs and now starting to turn back up. And we're sitting on, let's see, that is the 100 EMA. Apologize, I'm still waking up. Let's see here. No, let's take a look at the 2-day. 2-day's got decreasing money flow. RSIs are sideways. Not much here. Consolidation pattern, in my opinion. Could we go lower? Sure. I still think we'll see 95,000 before we see 74,000, if that's the grand plan for the master here in terms of the market manipulators. All intents and purposes, we're still in a bear flag, so we really need to break back above the $90,000 mark to have some kind of internal breaking structure bullishly. But for the time being, we have just range-bound movement here. So pull up the the volume profile, get an idea where we are. We're literally sitting on the point of control. Not much to talk about. If I remove the tiny little local range, you'll see that we're fighting that range right now. If we don't hold that range, we could come back down and retest the 81,625 range. Running down to the 12-hour. 12-hour is a just sideways range again. RSIs are starting to gap, are starting to really pinch again. So we could see a nice move with Asia open tonight. At this point in time, it's about 12 hours when I'm recording this. So it looks like people are accumulating here at the point of control. A lot of spot buys for Ethereum, massive spot buys. People are buying 50 million at a time. So whales are just hedging their bets here. You're more likely to see a move up. I think it's the 4th month in a row. It's only the 2nd time in history Ethereum has printed 4 negative months. The last time was 2017, where we had a massive pump of over 4,000%, which I don't think is going to happen, obviously, but I still see a potential $15,000 Ethereum by the end of this bull run. If you read any of my macro information, market setups, and projections for the rest of this year, I gave a lot of stuff laid out there in terms of why we're bullish. The tariffs really don't matter. You've got decreasing interest rates, decreasing dollar value, decreasing oil. It's all creating a very bullish setup for risk-on assets, which Bitcoin in crypto is. So information coming later on that. If you haven't followed me, head over to Crypto Blackwall on Twitter. You can see my posts. I have a couple stuff that's pinned. My Patreon people are up to date on a bi-daily basis on what's happening. So if you need some help or some coaching, head over there. About to print a trigger wave here on the hourly, which is nice. Usually Sundays are a pump day if we're going to have one. Usually they front run. Last weekend they front ran. They front ran New York on Monday, and we had a massive pump. We had this one over here. That was Wednesday, so where's Sunday? Saturday. Yeah, Sunday we flushed. So we flushed actually for last Sunday for a pump into Monday, and we rode up a wave until Wednesday. Had that massive pump. I got a nice, what was it? The AVAX long here. And of course, I took profit and then walked away. Didn't take a short, but that would have been a nice short. But everything is in a consolidation pattern, in my opinion. So we're just waiting for this time to happen. I think some more news will happen in terms of either tariffs either being canceled on both sides, or we'll come to an agreement and pull some tariffs out of the way. So I think that's what's going to happen here in the short term. You've got also the S&P 500 is gapped horribly low. Massive bull div here on the S&P 500. I haven't seen a bull div like this in stocks in a long time, but also you had a 10% drop, I think, from the top of this range down to this close price at 10.5, almost 11% for the S&P. I think the Dow Jones is even worse. You got some massive gaps up here. To fill the first gap from the open, it would be a 6.5 to 7% move. To fill the entire gap and come back up to where before we dropped, you're looking at again a almost a 10.5% move. So we've hit my target, in my opinion. We're also front running. It could come a little bit lower, make this bull div even stronger. That is the 618 here on this move up. So this entire macro move, the 618, it's sitting just above. It's sitting on the macro 0.54 fib and just below the 50%. So you're in the discount zone where longs are more advantageous than shorts at this point in time. I don't see a massive bear market starting at this point in time, so that's what I'm watching for there. Going back to Bitcoin, 1 hour looks good. 30-minute looks bullish as well. We have a gap here. We have a fair value gap to fill. That's not filled till we tag the previous day EQ up at 83. Let's call it 300. To flip an internal bullish structure, need to get it back above 83,500 at the daily open. And we've been rejecting off of the weekly VWAP. So the nice thing right now is we have the monthly and the weekly VWAP in the same area. So we could easily pump back above the previous day open, and that will be bullish. Then we got to get back above the previous month open. Then our target is the upper trend line here. We've got the upper level value area high coming in up here near the previous week EQ, up at 85. Let's call it 200. And then you got a ton of liquidity up here. There is a ton of liquidity. It's like more than 3 times the amount of liquidity above us and below us. So I still think that's a target, even if the lower is the overall target. I think, unfortunately, we're going to be range bound unless something happens. You could get a huge short squeeze, which I've been expecting. But you want to wait for that back test to look for more swing longs. Right now, everything's a scalp, in my opinion. Overall, I'm pretty much a scalp trader anyway. So if a trade I have runs, great. If not, once I'm in profit, I'm moving my stop loss to break even anyway. So that's how I mitigate risk in that regard. Head over to, this is AVAX. So I've zoomed into the 5-minute. That's what I'm watching here, short term. Massive gaps for U2 back above. We haven't filled yet. So I like to just turn on my TPO settings. And if you need some, just DM me. I'll tell you my settings. They're pretty much standard for the most part. Head over to, there's a free indicator over on the indicator slot here in TradingView. Look up TPO. You'll find the one I'm using. It comes in rainbow colors. I've muted mine down to pretty much just grades of yellow. I'm a huge yellow fan if you don't know. So we have a nice liquidity curve above us too. That could take us back up to almost $18 again for AVAX. Zoom back out for you here as well. Let's go to the 4-hour. 4-hour is deep in the money flow. Here's you can see the anchored VWAP, the lower end I've been talking about, is kind of acting as support for us currently. Not really a bull div, but kind of. More so, it's tagging levels I like to see. It's setting a higher low at this point in time. Let me draw a fib for you real quick. I think we went all the way down here. And sorry, I got kids yelling in the background if you hear that. So we're bouncing right at the 786 right now too. So I'm bullish on AVAX. The largest focus on any of my spot bags is AVAX at this point in time. I think this could really pull the next Solana SUI move. A lot of positive information coming out about them. Obviously, I've been talking for months, maybe even a year, about Citibank and Bank of America, utilizing them. They have a huge gaming ecosystem. They have NFTs releasing that are kind of getting popular again, like we had on Ethereum last market cycle. There's a lot of positivity for it. Running over to my KDAO. KDAO has been just up and holding. So shockingly, it's holding a level now finally after finding a bottom. Do we have an ugly head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders? Yes, it looks that way. We had a bullish break in structure internally, but KDAO is not going to break structure again until you're back above, really about 150%, I think, above where we are. 200%, excuse me. Nearly 300%. So good time to accumulate. I may throw another couple $100 at this thing. I'm only down about 45% now at this point in time, so this is a longer-term play. I think Caspa and the ecosystem there is going to be massive. The KRCs are still not talked about much, but that could be the next big sector movement there. So I'll leave you guys with that. There's nothing I'm watching here other than the fact we have some fair value gaps to fill with both Bitcoin and you also got a massive one to fill up here at 86,300, which is totally possible. As you saw, this massive flush is possible. So we have some big swings. Outside this big dump, we've had moves of 4.5% up. What was that? Almost 4% down. So not uncommon. We're having like 1.5 to 2% moves here on Bitcoin in very short periods of time. So good scalp opportunities. 1.5% there. So with that, I'll leave you guys there. Nothing I say is financial advice. Best of luck. You want to find me here at Crypto Black Wall on Twitter, the Black Art Discord. You need some private coaching, head over to my Patreon. Everything is tagged in the link below. If you have any further questions, please DM me in the Discord, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.